proper investigations, and my legal argument will ensure that we don't write silly reports which will then be taken on review. But I'm also a lawyer. I've done pupillage, so I've done research. 8 years of research. That's massive investigation. How do we determine that there's been a violation? The Kwalani case was actually led by me. I instituted that case commission. Said we make the findings. So all my investigators at the commission, including all court cases, have to come via the office of the CEO for approval. So I have to read the reports and say, yes, go for it, no, don't go for it. Then I recommend to my commissioners. So I don't see any problem at all with, Public Protector has got a number of investigators. I decide whether there's a violation or not. I've been doing that at the Human Rights Commission. Actually, to put it differently, the work of the Human Rights Commission, to a large extent, is a mirror image of the work of the Public Protector. So if we have been investigators by excellence, we can do it as well. It's just a matter of shifting human rights and putting something else in terms of Public Protectors Act. That's all. But also, just to make it funny, I have a BSc in biology and chemistry, and I spent 4 years in labs looking through microscopes, spanning chemicals. That's investigation, and with the results. So actually, we have two types of investigation:
Okay.
science and law.
Yeah, thanks. That was not exactly what I was looking for, but it would nonetheless be good to know that you will also be able to do biological investigation. So the law is not an exact science. And it will invariably happen that when the public protector investigate weaknesses in the law might be found, and even the situation, given that the law is not an exact science, where interpretation of the law will be necessary. What, if any, is the authority of the public protector to firstly interpret law?
Thank you. We are bringing two examples, actually, that when we investigate as a public protector and write reports, which are now subject to judicial review, it means we must be a bit smart ourselves by already influencing the law, interpretation, and whatever, and hope, therefore, the courts will agree with us or disagree with us. But at the end of the day, it's all about the building of jurisprudence. And this is what we did at the Human Rights Commission. When we took the case of Kwalani, we lost in the Supreme Court. And we said, no, we're not going to accept this thing. Now we produced Kwalani and Masudi. Those are the leading judgments in this country as far as constitutional issues are concerned. So in the same manner, that mindset must be taken to the public protector, that we are the first entry in terms of interpreting all the laws which fall under us, whether it's RECA, whether it's PAMA, whether it's Executive Members Act, anything, because we are the ones who must make a finding. And so, as I was saying, in a strange way, the mistakes which public protector has made before have helped. I think there is no other country in this world which has as rich jurisprudence on public protector than us, due to the mistakes, but now we're benefiting. So we need to be mindful of that. And my colleagues were saying that we should also ask for LPC to allow public protector to have the same status as Human Rights Commission, where his lawyers can also, be recognized and be able to take matters themselves, to defend our matters in court instead of going to outside advocates when we know exactly what is going on. That's what the Human Rights Commission has been doing. So we can influence the gray areas of the law. And as you rightly put, some of us get very worried when you go to CCMA. You don't know the outcome. Now High Court, you are still not sure. Now Supreme Court, you are still not sure. Then Constitutional Court, yes, maybe. So the law is uncertain, but it's about how we interpret and how we develop it. And I think we in the public protector need to be mindful that apart from the work we're doing, we also have to contribute to jurisprudence as far as our mandate is concerned.
Okay, so and if I make the statement that the Human Rights Commission is primarily tasked to build a culture of human rights, to defend and protect everybody's human rights, whilst the public protector, as a consequence of the famous Concord finding, make remedial action which stands until set aside. How does that influence your answer? How does the duty of the public protector to apply the law as it stands differ from when the Human Rights Commission is building a culture of human rights?
Well, let me say, before I get to this question, the Human Rights Commission builds a culture of human rights. Public protector builds a culture of accountability and respect and a good administration. That's what we need to build in this country going forward. But coming to your point, it's what I was saying, that we need to be very careful as public protector how we write our reports, knowing that they are the first entry into the legal system if they get taken on review. So if you look at those reports, certainly they could be better. They must be written better, because I don't think people there understand that they actually contributed to jurisprudence. It's not just making a finding. So we must write those things properly. We must do proper research, have a research unit in the public protector to ensure that we are doing the right thing. So we need to put a little bit more effort in the understanding interpretation of our acts, and not wait for the courts to tell us that we're out of order and then we pay costs.
Okay. So my last question. I was donated.
No, sorry. It started at 10:24. Now it's 10:32. He has three. I've allocated 3 more minutes from Honorable Brandenburg.
Thank you. So my last question or line of questioning turns on the, let's say, the balancing of the differences between the executive authority and the accounting authority. So you left the Human Rights Commission because the then chair, Mr. Mushwana, felt that you overreached into the authority of the executive authority. I have a sense that that was underlying to your latest departure at the Human Rights Commission as well. If you become the public protector, how will you prevent from, while you're the executive authority, trying to be the accounting authority as well?
As they say, you learn from painful experiences. They make you wiser. A wise man learns from the mistakes of fools. So I've been in this battle of corporate governance, who's who. It's a problem not unique to the Human Rights Commission. It's a problem which applies right through political parties' government. And having been there, and that's why one of the reasons why I went to law school to do an LLM in corporate law, just to understand, because, there's better sense of corporate governance. That's what you learn. There has to be a clear division between the board and management. Management should know its role, the board should know its role. Now, I can say one thing with all the courage. I have never interfered with powers that belong to me, that don't belong to me. I'll tell my commissioners, I'm here to implement those powers. It's a perception, because I'm very vocal and I express myself very strong. If I disagree with it, I'll disagree with it, but I'm not undermining. I've never been charged with insubordination anyway, because I respect it because of its importance. The moment you mess up with that, you mess up with the organization. So I'm very, very particular about that. We're dealing with a case now in SABC where a board member was alleged to have interfered. I'm in the governance committee. We're dealing with that matter. We're very clear. We will not tolerate the undermining of corporate governance. It's a killer virus to any institution.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Vessels, I've allocated you 3 more minutes.
Thank you. Good morning. Let me start with a complaint by a staff member or by staff members that was lodged against you whilst you were the CEO at the Human Rights Human Rights Commission, and that followed assault by members of the Black Land First movement on yourself, and the complaint had to do with those staff members alleging that you brought the South African Human Rights Commission in disrepute. And although you were cleared of any wrongdoing, my question is, you spoke earlier that happy staff members is very important. You're clear that it's important that the leadership of the staff and the Office of the Public Protector is a very important role and aspect. Would you not say that the complaint of that nature by staff members attested to some kind of problem that staff members had with you, and that there was trust deficit between you as accounting officer and staff?
The answer is a big no. However, let me explain. In any situation, there'll always be bad apples. That we know. And you have to accept that. There'll be bad apples. And we deal with them accordingly. They'll make noise, whatever they want. Now, going to the case of BLF, Honorable Horn, we're actually discussing with BLF about the case we were having against them for hate speech. There was a complaint, and I was called by Boang Jones to come and help him there. Now, clearly, these guys had their own agendas. They came with cameras and whatever. They began insulting us, saying that we were serial lapdogs and whatever. Because I knew already what they were up to. And I told my chairperson that, you know what? We must try by all means never to find ourselves embroiled with BLF, because we know the agendas. But anyway, they began insulting us. Said, okay, fine, meeting is over. We call security. Please take these guys out. Then when some members came, that's when they began swearing at us. They insulted me in my mother's private parts. I put my hands behind my back like this. Never did anything. I was assaulted by a woman on my shoulder. I was insulted. We did nothing. They took cameras, they took pictures, and then they took my spectacles. And then they went into a lift. And then I said, Boang, please help. I cannot be seen doing anything. And then Boang said, bring the CEO's spectacles. They threw the spectacles on the floor, then we picked them up. Then I was charged for that, for bringing the organization into disrepute. So they went to cameras and stuff like that. So that was untrue. However, when I was the CEO for the first time in 2005, I encouraged staff members to form a union. When I came back in 2017, if you recall, some members written to this parliament saying that they're unhappy with the commissioner. So when I got there, I found the staff members are basically taking over the organization. Now you can't have that as a CEO. So I said, guys, we must do things properly. So it's those staff members who were unhappy with the change. They did all sorts of things. In 5 years, I was taken to CCMA 6 times, never lost a single case. There were anonymous complaints, public protector of corruption, which never saw the light. So we understood it's the nature of work, and you must deal with those issues and isolate them. But I can assure you, now, as you receive any complaint from extra members, they have an opportunity to say, don't appoint this guy, he's a bad guy. I would love to see that. So I was led by the commission. I have led the commission with integrity. And I know my staff members love me. Now, I'll give you an example. Since I left in May, the commission, 17 staff members have resigned from the commission. How do you explain that?
Okay, let me stop you there. You are very proud of your track record at the commission.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would have, in your tenure, done differently?
Yes. I would have sensitized my principals about the importance of corporate governance. I do understand, because the Human Rights Commission Act has not really made very clear delineation. So, for example, in terms of the Act, the CEO appoints staff members. Commissioners think they must appoint staff members. So we can't deal with them. So, okay, fine. For senior managers, we will interview and recommend you appoint. You recommend for appointment. But in law, we are the ones who sign. Just to try and balance, So I think if you appoint, even for public protector, people who understand the importance of corporate governance and the divide between management and the board, allowing, of course, at the end of the day, the board is the one who makes decisions. So as staff members, you carry out decisions of the board. But if the board then tries to start interfering in management, that's where things go wrong. And it's very simple. You find some people are now talking to one staff member or union there, and then all hell breaks loose. So it's very important for me I mean, look at the complaints about gender commission, the fights in public protector between Mushwan and his previous deputy chairperson, and the current fights now. It's all about people not respecting the rules of corporate governance. Stay in your lane. You are the boss. You instruct, people account to you. So why then do you want to go and do what other people are doing? What are you paying them for? So it becomes fruitless and wasteful expenditure under PFMA, if truth should be told.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. Thank you. Let's come to something that has bearing also and that you would have experienced at the Commission as well. But with the Public Protector, it is a cause of concern as well, where state organs do not implement remedial action. How will you deal with that?
No, thanks. I've seen that, in the reports of the